Football on Off the Ball.
With William Hill, you can boost your winnings on the Sunday game with new Bet Builder Extra. Only with William Hill. Download the app today. 18 plus gamblingcare.ie.
This is News Talk.
You're welcome back now. We are continuing our preview of this doubleheader against Wales for the Republic of Ireland. A huge moment once again for this team. Hopefully it'll be just as joyous as that night in Scotland was all those years ago. And I'm delighted to say that Lucy Quinn is with us on the line to look ahead to this. Lucy, how are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
All good. I'm sure you'd much rather be doing anything but talking to us this evening. You'd much rather be preparing for a massive fixture tomorrow night. So I must start by asking, how is the injury? How are you getting on and how is the progress?
Yeah, no, it's actually really good. Thank you for asking. It was a bit annoying to pick up an injury, but, you know, it's part of the game. And, yeah, rehab and recovery is going well so far. So, yeah, not bad.
What is the injury?
It's just a few problems with an ankle ligament in the ankle, but I got away with it very lightly, and I should be on the mend very soon.
Right. It's one of those tricky things that after a good start to the season, such a hugely important window coming up with the Republic of Ireland, I presume you have to deal with the frustration that naturally comes with being out of action at this point.
Yeah, no, of course it's massively frustrating. I've missed out on the past couple of squads with the national team, so I was just really focusing on doing what I could and performing at my best. And yeah, I seem to be doing okay in the league. And, you know, like I said, injuries happen. And I think at this point, any timing is unfortunate because, you know, fixtures and major tournaments just keep coming around. So yeah, obviously I'm gutted, but I'm actually just really excited for both the games.
Do you think you'll be a calm spectator tomorrow? Do you think you'll be an anxious spectator? I know you're going to the game, and often sports people say they'd much rather be out there on the pitch because they're a bit too nervous in the stands.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm going to be calm. I think I'm going to be going absolutely mental. That is one thing that I've found being on the sidelines for Birmingham City at the minute is you just feel like you can't affect the game at all. And yeah, it just makes me so much more stressed just being a spectator. But, you know, it's going to be exciting. And that's why we love football, isn't it?
Absolutely. You're the best person to talk about this, to set the scene for how important these next two fixtures are. We've been talking about it all week on this show, but you might just contextualise what you're thinking about when you think about the importance of this next 180 minutes of football.
Yeah, I mean, obviously off the back of the World Cup qualification, it was a dream that really became a reality. And I think it's hit home now that we are capable of achieving things such as going to major tournaments, and just that feeling of past experience, knowing just how much those 90 minutes are going to be, how important they're going to be, sorry. So yeah, I think it's put even more pressure on the squad, to be honest. We've spoken a lot about not wanting the World Cup to be a one-off. We want to continually be in major tournaments and grow the game throughout the country. So, yeah, I think it's becoming a bit of a responsibility now to go out and to deliver. And to be honest, they're the kind of conditions that you want.
How has the squad dealt with that responsibility? Does that pressure sit lightly on your shoulders?
Personally, I love it. I think it's such a privileged position to be in. When I was younger, I always wanted to be in those positions. I always wanted to be a player that people called upon when they needed things done and to play in big stadiums and in front of crowds. I think the squad as a whole have handled it brilliantly. I think obviously it was a very tough past few games for the squad, but we knew that going into it. And I think you could show that the girls were really reveling in that. And obviously some of the results maybe didn't reflect that, but then a couple definitely did. So I think the squad's handling that really well.
The step up in terms of the glare on the team, then, like I presume that the World Cup, it kind of reaches a bit of an apex, and then obviously there's the transition to a whole new qualification campaign where during your time in League B, you're playing opponents that you're expected to beat, but you held up your end of the bargain pretty well in terms of that expectation. And then there was the step up to League A, and it was less about expectation and more about trying to break down world-class teams. So did you feel that change in expectation going from the big dog in League B to an underdog in League A?
I think you feel a change in terms of, obviously, people were really excited to see us develop as a team, the kind of football that we were playing. Obviously, being Irish, you absolutely love putting your body on the line and defending, getting nice and muddy. But we also wanted to show that we're capable of doing all those other sides of the game as well. And we managed to do that, like you said. And then, the step up is actually something we really looked forward to. We knew it would be tough, especially at times. But until you put yourself in those positions, until you really take yourself out of your comfort zone and go and test yourself, then obviously you're never going to improve. And the girls knew that, and that's exactly what we wanted to do. We wanted to continue pushing. It's definitely not a squad that likes to be comfortable. So, that was all part of the process.
How important was the France result in Cork? Because it feels like you guys knew that you were going in the right direction, but maybe the public needed to be persuaded. And the most persuasive argument is, let's beat one of the best teams in the world.
Yeah, I think it's an unbelievable result. I think, first of all, you can look at that group and look at those fixtures and call the results. But the thing with football is you never know what's going to happen. Anything can happen in the day. Obviously, it was an unbelievable atmosphere down in Cork. You could tell that. And that little bit of belief. You get a goal and you get another, and that's how football goes. And I think when you can get a hold of that momentum consistently, then you'll start to get those results and grow as a team. So I think that was a big result in many different ways. And obviously everyone was delighted with it, and I hope the fans were as well.
Yeah, for sure. But was it something that you felt you kind of needed, like just a bit of a fill up in terms of just getting a big win and listen, we can absolutely mix it in this league as well?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good term, actually, mixing it in at that level, because I think people underestimated us a little bit. And we didn't go to the World Cup and get rolled over by these teams. It was competitive, and we were in it at all times. And I think that's what we really wanted to prove in that group also. And, there were a couple of the games where we were so lucky, maybe just conceded the one right at the death or hit the bar in that first France game where we might have got a result. I think we definitely needed that result to kind of show people that we're not just saying that we think we can get to this level. Here's a little bit of proof.
Yeah, absolutely. It was more than decent proof that was the case, and the trajectory is very much still going upwards. You mentioned there the standards and people in camp holding one another to high standards. Who are the people who lead that in this Republic of Ireland squad?
I mean, obviously there's the experienced figures that you could probably imagine: Katie, Denise, Niamh Fahey, Louise Quinn when she's involved. But honestly, I have to say that it's just a feeling within the whole squad. When I first started playing internationally a couple of years ago, I think that was one of the biggest learning curves for me, was the mentality and the belief, and you go out there and you give it absolutely everything, and you're determined to prove what this special little nation can do. So just for me, it's the feeling within the whole squad that it is the norm that we want to go out there and absolutely smash all of these barriers. And if you're not on board, then you're not going to be hanging around for very long.
It's a really interesting thing to consider, how you actually train yourself to go out there and actually smash those barriers, as you say yourself, because I presume it's human nature where there are fixtures that you're up for. I don't know, playing England and Carrow Road, playing the French down in Cork, and there are fixtures that maybe are a little more difficult to get yourself up for. Granted, there was a lot on the line against Georgia, but you've beaten Georgia handsomely in the past. So how do you manage to hit that pitch that you talk about there week after week, camp after camp, as an international footballer?
I think, it's a little bit cliche when people say it, but as soon as you are in with your national team or you're putting that green shirt on, there is no real difference in how you want to perform and what you want to achieve. Obviously, when you are playing France or England, there is that extra maybe rivalry or adrenaline that you might get. Just historically, those are the games that you love to be a part of, and you just want to absolutely thrive in those kind of fixtures. But I think it's just not underestimating people. We'd be really silly to ask people not to underestimate us and then go somewhere like Georgia and do the same. So I think you just have to learn from experience that, you have to give 100% at all times, because, it doesn't always go your way, and you've got to do everything in your power to make sure that it does.
On Wales then, obviously there'll be no trouble with underestimating Wales, given you've played them in the not too distant past, and Wales got the better of you guys. When you look back at that result, is that something that maybe will give a little added motivation for these next two games, that potentially the Republic of Ireland didn't give the best account of themselves in that one-off fixture with Wales?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think you said it there, that it definitely wasn't the best account of the team at all. We didn't perform at our best that day, and I think that's annoyed us ever since that moment. So hopefully this is motivation for the girls, so they want to go and put that right, because they know that they didn't do themselves justice. You know, you don't need to add any other fuel to the fire. It's Wales. It's a team that's also doing very well, got some very, very capable players that have really gone outside of their home nation to prove themselves, and some brilliant teams, very similar to Ireland. So yeah, I think it's going to be feisty, but that's what we want. I think it's going to be really exciting and really, really close. But to be honest, I think like you say, if we can give the best account of ourselves and the best performance, then I think we'll just edge it.
What happened that night against Wales? Like, not that a whole pile went wrong. Wales, as you say, are a very good team, but was there particular things that you were frustrated about?
Yeah, I think, we spoke a lot of the team. We didn't seem to start the game very well. And Wales got a goal, and then, momentum is in their favour. And I just remember a lot of the talk on the night and at half time just being about just simple things that we were trying to do, we were trying to execute, just weren't coming off. And sometimes that happens. So, yeah, Wales were fresh. They'd only played us in that camp. So I just think that they were sharper. They just started well on the night. And the girls were really frustrated with just how we executed things. And like I said, sometimes that happens, and we've got to make sure that that doesn't happen again.
What's going to be the message from Eileen Gleeson in camp this week? What's she like on a big week?
She's very passionate. I imagine that she's, really, really talking about obviously how much it would mean to go to another major tournament. Obviously, the girls already know that. We all want to be a part of it, but it is the legacy that we're trying to create here. Like I said, we didn't just want to go to the World Cup and talk about that for 10 to 15 years, even though that's probably what I will do. We also want to be adding things to look forward to for the future and for the young players coming through. And it really is tough to go to a European tournament. Obviously, the pool of teams is very, very strong. Wales are going to be absolutely biting to get there too. So we have to make sure we want it just a little bit more than they do. And I think that's what she'll be really focusing on this week.
It's kind of just immediately popped into my head when you said that phrase. It's obviously fantastic that the World Cup memory is there. Nobody can ever take that away from you. But I think back to 2002 as a fairly young person watching the men's team go to their first World Cup of my lifetime, and then thinking, wow, this is every second summer. This is how things are gonna be forever. And then the 2004 Euros comes along, 2006 World Cup comes along, Euro 2008 comes along, the 2010 World Cup comes along. No Ireland team at any of those tournaments, and the players were absolutely there. It was a golden generation, and they just could never quite get over the line. Like, backing that up and getting to another tournament, not to put too fine a point on it, is so important. The legacy is secure, but the legacy can get so much greater as well.
Yeah, 100%. Look, we definitely don't just want to stop there. And too many players before in the past have worked so hard to get the national team and football in Ireland for women to the point that it's at, that we don't just want to be comfortable with, oh yeah, we did something that one summer. Like you said, you want to be someone that's in those tournaments every single time that they come around, because that's not always a guarantee. So we have to continue to push for that, and to make sure that it becomes a real sustainable legacy, like you say. And I think that you don't need to tell the girls that. They're definitely not happy with just being a one-hit wonder. So they definitely want to go for it again.
On a week like this, I presume in any camp, there's got to be voices who are saying, listen, this is serious business. This is, reputations on the line sort of stuff. And then you got to have a good cop or two in the camp as well who are saying, listen, guys, calm down. The things will look after itself if the performance comes. So tell us, is it Eileen? Is it Emma? Is it Colin Healy? Who are the good cops? Who are the bad cops likely to be on a week like this?
Well, that's a good question, actually. I think Emma brings a lot of lightness to the group in terms of that. Obviously, all the staff are very serious and they give 100% into the preparation from every angle for the games. But I think Emma can just, make you laugh in a meeting and kind of release a little bit of that pressure. It probably comes from a couple of the girls as well. Obviously, I don't have to talk too much about Rusha Littlejohn. We all know exactly the kind of character she is, and obviously a very good friend of mine. And she's really someone that you need around. And there are a few characters like that. Niamh Fahey, Amber Barrett. God, honestly, you could list a few people just to just to remind you that, you know, we are here to get a job done, but my God, we have to enjoy it because it's an absolute privilege being a part of something like that.
Literally, exact same thought there when you list off those players. This is an unbelievable collection of humans and footballers that are representing the country at the moment. I hope that there's a part of you that's trying to soak this in as much as possible, even though you're not going to be lacing up a pair of boots tomorrow night, that these are the good times.
Yeah, 100%. And that's another reason why I'll be trying my best to go to both games. Obviously, I'm fully focused on my recovery and I'm still training with the club, but you have to really take these moments and soak them in because, like we've said, they really don't come around a lot. And yeah, it's something that's going to take every single fan, past player that's, you know, sometimes involved in the squad. And yeah, just to enjoy it as much as you can. Obviously, it's a lot easier for me to say that now, knowing that I'm not going to have to go out and put my boots on. But yeah, this is why we play the game. This is why we do what we love. So I really hope that the girls can just get that balance.
You mentioned there that you're hoping to get to both games. It looks like there's going to be 350 Irish supporters expected in Cardiff tomorrow night. 23,000 tickets sold for the second leg in the Aviva Stadium. I mean, that number should tick upwards quite nicely after tomorrow night. But as somebody who's played in these sorts of environments, how important would it be if this game is in the balance going to Dublin on Tuesday night for that number to get a bit higher, for people to get behind this team and buy those tickets?
Yeah, it's so important. I mean, we say it all the time, but it's just, there's no truer words, to be honest. When you're playing in front of those fans, especially at the Aviva, the noise just really carries you through. It calms you as well because you know that those 20,000 plus people, they all have your back. So every throw in, every tackle, you know, it's applauded, and it's obviously super, super important for us, but also to let the Welsh know that they are in Dublin, and there are a lot more than just 11 of us that they're going to have to beat on the night.
Insofar as you can, enjoy tomorrow night, Lucy. Do you have a prediction for us?
I'm going to go with 2-1 Ireland.
Brilliant. Well, that's it. That's all I needed to hear. We can start packing our bags for Switzerland at this point. Lucy Quinn, a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the call.
Thank you.
Cheers. We'll take a quick break.
Football on Off the Ball.
With William Hill, you can boost your winnings on every game with new Bet Builder Extra. Only with William Hill. Download the app today. 18 plus gamblingcare.ie.
This is News Talk.